Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show, a member of the Pod Bros Podcast Network. Don't forget to go to podbros.com and find yourself another podcast that you want to listen to. And don't forget to check out our sponsors, Trap and Roll Soap Company and Tape Armor, and find our old episodes, t-shirts, and much more at bjjshow.com. I'm Rob, and it's kind of tough to do a podcast by yourself where it's all interviews. And I'll tell you, I really do enjoy the people who do come on the show and get to talk with them, but there's always that in-person element that is missing. And I know Sean and Devin and Jonathan, we've done a lot of Skype ones, but due to work scheduling and the fact that some of these guys are 9 hours behind me, it does make it difficult to schedule something. So when Aaron, who has some podcast experience, said, "Hey, do you ever need somebody else to come on the show?" Hey, guess what? We do. So we're going to try him out. He's kind of a temporary co-host, I guess, because we both well know that I'm not going to be here forever. But we'll see what happens with that. So I really do hope you enjoy this episode. Aaron's a really cool dude, former military. He's stationed out here with me, and really had a good time talking to him. So I think we're going to have a few more of these in the future, and I'll see you guys after this episode. Usually the conversation goes to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu no matter what. I think we've had some weird ones where Devin, the old co-host, would say we talk about hooking up with girls or something, but it doesn't get that weird.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem with that topic. I don't have a problem with any topic.
Yeah, no, and no topic is safe in this podcast. Okay. But speaking of which, we're actually recording right now.
Are we?
So let's get into
cool.
it. But
yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, it's Rob, Big Jiu-Jitsu Show, and I'm kind of scared to actually say permanent co-host because I seem to jinx myself. I know John from Jiu-Jitsu After Dark is probably going to message me after this, be like, "This is like the 20th co-host you've had." I think I'm just cursed, but I got my buddy here, Aaron. We trained together out here in Germany. So Aaron, thanks for being on the show.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, train together is a strong phrase. More like you coach me, and then I sort of show up and try to keep up with you. I don't know. You run a really good class, man. I mean,
I appreciate that.
It was really fascinating to get here and find out that there's a program that nobody advertises where you're teaching jiu-jitsu, but it's not just like some random guy teaching jiu-jitsu. It's like a full-fledged, legitimate coach, as good as basically pretty much any other coach that I've ever had teaching jiu-jitsu, and not just teaching like one or two people, but a full-fledged class, like 10, 15 people sometimes, along with the kids class. But yeah, thanks for having me, man. I mean,
of course,
really glad to be here. I just got done with a long run tonight. We're drinking wine.
So we're classy as fuck, actually.
We're super fucking classy. And also, I don't know about permanent co-hosts. I mean, I know you were sort of hurting for a co-host to be here in person and do this.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I could step in. Maybe I could step in. Maybe I could, do a couple of podcasts. I don't have a problem with that. But mostly, man, I just want to hang out like with your dog on my lap, like he's doing right now. His name's Woodhouse?
Yeah, he's Woodhouse.
Woodhouse, like from Archer?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fucking awesome. Yeah, he's a cool fucking dog, man.
He's pretty gangster, man. We got real lucky with our dogs. We got this one who has no medical problems, and we got the other one who has every medical problem known to me. He has dog gout, for Christ's sakes. It's pretty...
What? How do you get dog gout?
I don't know.
What is that?
So he can't eat, like... So he has to have special food. Apparently, like, Dalmatians have it or something. Like, okay. It's very prevalent in Dalmatians, but he can't have, like, certain meats because it builds up crystals in his bladder. Oh, shit. So he's constantly passing bladder stones from the fuckers who owned them before.
Oh, my God. So. Does he ever, like... This is a terrible... Does he ever piss blood?
Yeah. That actually just happened today. Just like a little drip, yeah.
That's the scariest thing in the entire world. I had that happen to me one time.
Oh, pissing blood?
Yeah, it was after jiu-jitsu class. I was so scared, man. I was fucking like at home, It was after I had run, I did like a run, and I also did jujitsu. So do you know what rhabdo is? Rhabdomyolysis?
I don't think so.
So rhabdomyolysis is this thing where you work out so hard, you break down the muscles so hard that it becomes blood, basically. It's like it goes into your bloodstream, and you piss it out. You piss out muscle. Does that make sense?
It does.
It's in a way, I don't know exactly how it works, but I was afraid of that because I used to do CrossFit, right? So I just fucking dropped the CrossFit word. Everybody's like, ooh, CrossFitter. It's like, yeah, okay, I used to do CrossFit. I don't really do it anymore. Now I do jiu-jitsu, which is, they're equally cultish in their own ways.
They definitely are.
For sure. But but I had heard about this in CrossFit, right? Rhabdomyolysis. It's like I had heard about this guy. He did these sit-ups on this. Do you know what a GHD is? So it's this piece of equipment. It makes you do a really full range sit-up. You go all the way down to the ground, and you go all the way back up.
It was like that incline bench type thing where you put your legs in.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Essentially that, yeah. So this guy he was like, had never done CrossFit before. He came in, he did like 40 or 50 of these GHD sit-ups, and he got rhabdo, and he was pissing blood. His nuts swelled up to the size of like fists. I was deathly afraid. Like, so I'm sitting there, and I'm just like hanging out. I'm drinking a glass of wine. I go to my bathroom, and I start pissing, and just darkest fucking color I've ever seen in my entire life. And I just started screaming. And then from there, I was like, so I got all my stuff, and I drove as fast as I could to the doctor's office. And basically what they told me is that, there was nothing, like, I was fine. And sometimes that shit happens. But anyway, that was a story about me pissing blood.
Jesus. So this is normal. Everybody pisses blood.
Yeah, everybody. No, it's cool. You can piss blood. No, but it was so weird, right? It's like it was one of those things that were like, hey, this sometimes happens to people. We don't really know why it happened to you. We know why it's happening to your dog, obviously, because he's all fucked up. But I'm glad that I didn't have anything. I had a buddy pass kidney stone in Afghanistan, actually.
Fuck that.
Like in the heat, like, in the desert. It was, and he was drinking like probably 5, 6, 7 Monster Energies a day, smoking 2 packs of cigarettes. Not really. Yeah.
That's like normal though.
Isn't that normal? I mean, how many guys have done that without actually passing a kidney stone?
I'm still waiting on mine, man. Like it was all about the rippets though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm
surprised I'm not dead from those.
Well, they have to cut those in half. The full size rippet was considered too much to give to troops because because there's like already 50 something grams of sugar in just one tiny little rippet. So they cut it. It was like the big rippet, which you can get at the dollar store in the United States, and they cut that in half. And then they were like, "No, this is cool. We'll just give as many of." It's like, dude, I'll just drink 2. I'll just drink 3. I'll just drink 4 on a mission. You know, but yeah. So that was a story about me pissing blood.
God damn.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad. You know what? Let's not piss blood.
I'm gonna try. That's something I'm gonna try to avoid.
That's good
into the future.
Something you well, before we get into because it was something, it's been bugging me for weeks.
Okay.
But I'll bring the topic up afterwards. So since you still got the new Cohost smell, like I guess like a car kind of. Why don't you tell everybody kind of how you got started, like all like your credentials, I guess maybe. I don't know.
Credentials is a strong word. I mean, so I've been doing jiu-jitsu dedicated, like really showing up and doing it for maybe a year and a half, a little more than that. So I was out on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. There's a city called Ocean City, Maryland, and this city it's a vacation town for people in Washington D.C. and Philly and sort of all along the Eastern Shore, Baltimore. But I was out there, and I'd always wanted to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I tried it a couple of times. When I was in the Marine Corps, I did quite a bit. I'd spent 4 years in the Marine Corps. I was in the infantry. I did quite a bit of grappling. And so during that time, I learned a couple of basic moves, right? I learned how to do an arm bar. I learned how to throw up a triangle. And those 2 things meant that, and I learned how to do a rear naked choke. But I had sort of like, I watched a few videos. I watched some Hoist Gracie stuff on the nascent early days of YouTube. And so I knew how to do this stuff, so I was better at grappling than most of the Marines that I grappled with, and I really enjoyed it. But that being said, I didn't really train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu until I was 25. And so I go to Ocean City. I find this gym. It's called Gracie Ocean City, and I just walk in one day and I say, "Look, I want to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu." But the thing is that for the last month or two before I walked in there, I was watching all these videos of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitors doing barambolos, doing Imanari rolls, doing all these crazy back takes and these crazy guard passes and stuff, and pulling guard into do flying triangles. So when I went in, I was like, I want to do that, right? And I quickly learned that this gym that I went to was not about doing those kinds of very advanced, very cool, very technical, very jiu-jitsu on jiu-jitsu moves like that. They were much more old school because it's a Hoist Gracie gym.
Yeah.
Right. So the head coach there, Kevin Killian, he's a former pro MMA fighter. The other people there have all fought MMA. They all sort of do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu from the original sort of perspective where I can fight somebody with this.
Right.
Yeah. So the way that you see, 1993, 1994, Hoist. And so I started training there, and my jiu-jitsu journey was it's been a relatively short one, right? But I did earn my blue belt about a year after I started, and I think that was in large part because I had done so much grappling when I was in the Marine Corps, but also, I don't know, man. Anytime you get a belt, it's up to or a stripe, it's up to your instructor,
yeah,
right? What they think of you. So even though it's maybe you don't feel like you're ready for the belt, or maybe you don't feel like you're ready for the stripe even, or like me, I'm just very self-critical. My coaches felt I was ready. So I'm blue belt now, right? So Hoist Gracie actually personally gave me his blue belt a few months before I came to Germany. So, my story was it's a fairly quick, I think, blue belt for a lot of people who do jiu-jitsu. What's the average?
I've seen anything from 6 months to 2 years to hell, I've even seen 5 years.
Yeah.
But the way you roll, and this is not just podcast, kiss ass. It's legitimately when you came in, holy fuck, I have to try my ass off. I'm I have to not let this guy get around. It was hard to keep you in my guard.
Appreciate that. Yeah,
of course.
Well, it's one of those things where, that's the gym. The gym that I went to was very much so I was the smallest guy there. I'm not necessarily a very small guy. I'm 5'10", 175 pounds, 180 sometimes if I'm lifting a lot. But I'm not a small guy, But when I went to this gym, I was the smallest guy there for a while. And it was a dedicated group of dudes that had been training for a long time. And they were very old school about it. And I was so when I first started, I was like, oh, okay, I'm smaller than them. I'm a little lankier, let's do I'll play a lot of guard. And by play a lot of guard, I'm a white belt and I fucking trying to throw up arm bars that don't work, Yeah. But sometimes it would. And sometimes it'd be okay. But the guys I was going against were your size, man. Most of them were about your size. They were over 6 foot. They were over 200 pounds. These were high school wrestlers, MMA guys, smashers. Kevin Killian's a judo black belt, So I was playing this sort of jiu-jitsu where I'm trying to do a lot more guard stuff, and I'm getting my guard passed. I'm getting smashed into side control, and there was a point where I had one of the coaches there. They call him Rhino. He told me he's like, stop letting people do shit to you. It was the simplest thing, right? He's like, stop letting people do shit to you.
Right.
And so, literally that instant, I was like, okay, fuck it. So I stood up with this former high school wrestler, huge guy, and I shot for a single leg, and I took him down.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Oh, and then from then on, it was like, fuck it. I'm just going to go, and I'm going to do something, right?
Yeah.
We're going to start. I'm immediately going to try something. I'm going to try a takedown. I'm going to try a throw. And a lot of times I fail. But I would put these people, because they were used to smashing people. So I'm like, I'm just going to develop a game where I go first and I try and get people, I try and get top position. I'm like, why not? I mean, I'm not a very big guy, but I'm pretty athletic. I'm pretty strong for my size. So, I said, fuck it. So then, all the way fast forward to now, I come in the gym and I start rolling with people and I say, okay, giant purple belt, coach of the class, Rob Austin over here. And I'm like, I got to roll. I got to do something. So, it was exactly what you said. I mean, I try. And I, of course, that being said, it's like, I'm also, it's you. Like, you tapped me out in less than a minute, a couple days ago. Like, it's still, purple belt, blue belt. It's all that stuff. But I'm trying to have a game where I don't wait around for people to do stuff to me. Does that make sense?
It does, and I really do feel like that is probably one of the best ways to improve. Because a lot of people, like, I'm to the point now where I'm just, like, I don't give a shit. Like, I will get tapped out by white belts because I'll go, like, I think I'm maybe even said with you, like, oh, that was fucking stupid when I tried to do something.
Yeah.
It's like, let's see what happens if I do this. Oh, that was
Yeah.
fucking stupid. But I don't care. If I get tapped, I get tapped.
Yeah.
Like, and it's better to do something and get tapped than to be like, watch this shit. I'm going to hold on to this guy's legs for 5 full minutes so he can't, sweep me, but I won't pass his guard.
Yeah.
Like, what do you prove at that point?
Yeah. I mean, it's a difference between, are you in a tournament or are you in the gym rolling? I mean, what are you really trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? I mean, like I said, I've been doing jiu-jitsu for a year and a half, basically. And I have a lot of sort of, I've shifted. It's interesting how my perspective has shifted over that time. It shifted from, oh, I can't wait to get my first stripe as a white belt to, I can't believe they just gave me my blue belt to, well, now I'm a blue belt and I feel like I just need to, learn everything that I possibly can because there's so many different games out there. There's so much to do. There's so much to go against. But also it's like there are times when and I'm constantly learning this. There's times in the gym where me doing that go first sort of like let's do this sort of thing, it doesn't work. It's not necessarily what needs to be done, right? We're rolling and we all want to try techniques, and instead of immediately going for this smash, it's like let's take it a little easier. Some people can't turn that off.
Yeah.
Some people can't turn that off, I've learned. And some people can't turn it on. Some people can't turn on that mentality, that aggressiveness that they need in order to, get the tap, in order to get the position. But for me, it's like I have a buddy who just got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And he's I don't know if he's doing it as a joke. Like, I've been making fun of him on Facebook, but he put a profile picture of him rolling. But he also, and okay, nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
But he also put white belt, the word white belt, underneath his picture with a exclamation point on the end, like white belt. And then every time he gets a stripe, he has a belt underneath. Every time he gets a stripe, he puts a stripe on the picture of a belt. Does that make sense? So it's like his profile picture, white belt, a picture of a belt, and then every stripe that he gets. And I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, why are you doing this? I mean, I know that I get that you're proud of what you're doing. It's just, I don't know, man. Like, have you ever seen that before?
Yeah. So the thing is now, like, you talked about old school and new school, and I feel like, I was kind of, when I truly started jiu-jitsu, it was like 2004, 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And I was under Brian Mingy, who was one of the Team Rock guys in North Carolina. He's a Hoist Gracie black belt now. So it's really cool to be like, oh yeah, I was under a Hoist Gracie school.
Yeah, that was one of the first things we connected on is you were a Hoist Gracie. I think you got your blue belt like under a Hoist Gracie school, right?
Lamont Tyler from, he's in Virginia. Yeah, he gave me my blue belt.
Cool.
And it's like really cool to be like, yeah, like those were rough days, pretty much my entire time was fighting as a white belt, fighting this giant man who was a brown belt at the time in 2004. So I was kind of like, yeah, my coach is a fucking brown belt. How about that shit? Like, it's not really that big out here. There's like 2 black belts in the state.
Yeah.
And my coach is a brown belt. So, fuck you guys.
Oh, 2004. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been doing jiu-jitsu for more than about a year and a half, but I've been into the history of it, and I've been watching, UFC, MMA, and Brazilian jiu-jitsu for a long time. So, same thing with the gym that I was with out in Ocean City, Gracie Ocean City. These guys were doing it since the 90s when a blue belt, was a god.
Yeah.
And a black belt was nowhere to be found.
Exactly.
Well,
I mean, it was funny because like I didn't do jiu-jitsu since 2004. I did jiu-jitsu for a little bit and then quit like a bitch because I had to work. And then came back to it once I joined the military again. And then things are like, well, yeah, blah, blah, blah. My coach was brown belt, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, that's cool. We got like 3 here. I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, I guess things have changed. But, it was very much a, like, what's the good of doing jiu-jitsu if you can't defend yourself or fight somebody? Like, what's the point? Sitting on your butt, still, like, the only time I will pull guard is if I fuck a throw up really, really bad that I land on my shoulder. I'm like, get on your back, pull guard.
Yeah.
That's
it. To me, that happens all the time.
It does.
So I say, oh, I'm going to do this sick judo move that I've practiced a couple of times, but it's like I want to do with a throw, right? It's like maybe we practice it, and I'm like, okay, I want to hit this throw, and then I just fucking end up like on the ground, and I have to turn around and get into guard. And I mean, that's the other thing for me is like, I don't think there's anything wrong with pulling guard in a sport jiu-jitsu. Your dog is just amazing.
Is it cool if I take a picture of this?
Absolutely.
Nobody's going to believe it.
Yeah.
All right, good. Like, I'm listening still.
You're good. Oh, well, now.
Never mind. The other dog just fucked it up.
So the bleeding, the bloody urine dog has come in to cuddle with me instead of the other dog. And now this beautiful creature is sitting here.
Just wants to be friends. But yeah. I'm sorry. I was still listening to you.
No, you're good, man. So, oh, hi there. I don't remember what I was talking about. Man, I went for a long run today. And so, what do you think about? So, what is your perspective on conditioning and Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
So,
what do you think works?
Doing more. Everybody says doing more jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, how do you get good at push-ups for your PT event? You do more push-ups.
Yeah.
You do more sit-ups. Like, all that stuff. Like, yeah, everybody's like, oh, well, grappling endurance is way different than, like, running endurance. Well, yeah, no shit. Like, but every little bit helps.
It's all different.
Yeah.
It's all different. I mean, I would argue that, so this is something that I've been sort of thinking about is, for me, when I first started jiu-jitsu, I would get all these tendonitis issues. I would get all these overuse injuries. My elbows from gripping the gi, they would flare up so bad that I couldn't grip anything, so I would have to take time off. Or I would have to do more no-gi, right? So, like, for some reason, it doesn't affect me in no-gi as much. And I don't know how much that is, I don't know what that's like for other people. I would be really curious to hear from some very experienced guys sort of how they deal with really injuries, right? Like, but overuse injuries, and do they even happen anymore? For me, it prevented me from doing jiu-jitsu for a month. I also had this judo guy come in and squeeze me. He pulled guard on me and just squeeze. I don't know, man. It's like one of those things, like, you take your legs, and if you don't know anything in guard, you just fucking squeeze the shit out of the person's rib.
Yeah.
And this dude injured my rib for like, and I was fucked up for like a month.
Well, like that woman from Goldeneye. I'm trying to remember her name.
Oh fuck, man.
Where she'd like lure the dudes in. She's like, yeah, fuck you, I got guard, and just kills them that way.
I don't even know. How is that even possible?
I don't know.
I gotta learn that move, man. That's like the Kill Bill, the fucking 5-finger, and then you take 5 steps and you die. Your heart explodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we need
move,
to
right?
practice it. That's going to be our move this week.
Oh fuck, dude!
It's fucking squeezing somebody till they die.
Who's it gonna be on?
I need everybody in class. That's the problem. Yeah. We have to get some homeless guy out.
We're gonna have to find some fucking ISIS sympathizer or something.
Hell yeah,
yeah.
There's some drug addict out in town. Yeah,
we'll just get we'll do the GoldenEye move, and if that doesn't work, we'll hit him with the heart stopper. Yeah. And then if that doesn't work, then it's all bullshit, And like, what are we gonna do? We'll probably have to go back to just regularly doing
regular jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And that's funny because like talking like you were saying earlier, you're talking about your friend who's posting up like stripes on, every time he gets a stripe. Yeah, that's really something cool to get.
Yeah.
Like the stripes I got from Josh were the first stripes I'd gotten since 2013.
That's a long time to be a no stripe purple belt.
Well, I got purple belt in between there.
Oh, okay.
But I was told stripes are for kids. And I get it and I don't, but like in a military type club where people like leave all the time, it sucks because you're like, well, where the fuck am I at?
Yeah.
I've been here for 2 years. I don't like the higher up in belts you go. I feel like it takes longer to get there. I had no idea it was like 4 stripes. I was like, holy shit! Like that's a good deal.
Let me ask you this: so where do you get your instructing style from? Like, do you have? I mean, because it's very, very obvious. You have a very keen grasp on how to teach. Because I'll put it this way: I know a lot of belts, higher belts, that are good rollers.
Yeah.
They're good at jiu-jitsu, but they can't teach. If you said, hey, I want you to teach a class, and I've seen this happen before, right? At Gracie Ocean City, there was he was a Henzo black belt. He's a great guy, right? I'm not gonna put his name out there. Number one, because I don't remember it, and number two, because he was a really genuinely nice guy.
Yeah.
And he was smaller than me. He fucked me up. Of course, I was a white belt. It's completely expected, but he also fucked up a lot of the higher belts in the gym. But I remember one time they asked him to teach something to the class. And you would think that, you have some go-to thing that maybe you... Like, if somebody said, hey, I want you to teach something today.
Yeah.
Right? And you were visiting somewhere, it's like you're a purple belt. Maybe the instructor's also a purple belt. And he says, hey, we got a visiting purple belt here, Rob, for our beginner's class, whatever. Rob is going to show us this move. Would you be able to pull out something and just teach it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So this guy couldn't do it. But that's not a slight against him, right? That's just... Some people are instructors. Some people aren't.
Yeah.
Where did you get your, coaching style? Like, did you instruct as a blue belt or?
Well, even before I did BJJ, I was a Taekwondo instructor. And it was a very structured, like, you will teach it this way. You will do only these moves. You do. And here's the thing, like, in jiu-jitsu class, I could say fuck. Like, so that automatically makes it more fun for me right there.
Definitely.
I can make jokes about it. But as far as teaching goes, it was kind of you teach to the person who doesn't understand it. Because in BJJ, when I was a white belt, I was that person. So they're like, you do this, this, and this, and here it is. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing with this? So I'd be the guy that go over. I would try the move. The black belt or whoever would come over and be like, no, you're doing it completely wrong. Let me show you again. And then once I get like some one-on-one like time, then I'll be like, oh, okay, I got it.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a combination of I want everybody to understand it, as well as I understand not everybody is here to be the ultimate fighter. I mean, and like you say, coming from old school, we just beat the shit out of each other. Like you either swam or you sank.
Yeah.
And I just wanted everybody to have like this good environment. Not saying the gyms I've been to where I was like active, so like in North Carolina, in Virginia, in Arizona, there weren't douchebag gyms. But I visited my fair share of douchebag gyms, and I'm like, that isn't the type of environment I want. So I think one of the big things about it is having a good instruction so that people feel welcome and they don't feel stupid for asking questions.
I'm on exactly the same page. I think the way you do it is great. I've been to gyms that are very much they're sort of attrition based.
Yeah.
It's like, are you tough enough to stick around? You're going to get better. I mean, I did, right?
Yeah.
Gracie Ocean City is a great gym. I love it. It's a great gym. It swells during the summer in membership, and then there's a core group of people who are there year round because Ocean City becomes a small town in the winter and in the early spring and in the fall. But at the same time, it's also a very tough gym to be a part of because every day you're going to go hard with people. Now it's also like it's tough, but it's post this sort of knucklehead, where everybody's knocking each other out every day.
Yeah.
We sparred hard, but it wasn't to the point of knocking each other out. I mean, we knew that, right? But just the way that it was, the way that it still is, what gives it its credibility is being that sort of old school gym. And I think sometimes that sort of attrition-based perspective it can turn people off, right? It can make new people feel like they're not good enough. And I think for some gyms, they want that. I think they want that, right? But for you, you're teaching kids, you're teaching people who have no experience in jiu-jitsu that are just like normal people, right? They don't see themselves as tough guys. They don't see themselves as fighters, but they know that Brazilian jiu-jitsu works, and they know that Brazilian jiu-jitsu is a good way to get in shape, a good way to learn how to defend yourself. And they show up, and if you are really making them feel like they have to be this person that they don't think they are, they're not going to show up again, especially in a place like where we are, with military spouses and all of these different people. It's a good way of, I think, doing it. And I think that I really enjoy class too, because a lot of times you're teaching things that if you go to other gyms, the beginner class might have some advanced moves in it that aren't necessarily going to be all that helpful, or we're not working on basic. Like we worked on mount, solidifying the mount the other day. And it's something where somebody might say, well, okay, well, that's a really basic thing to do. It's like, well, okay, but how good is your mount? I mean, are you the best person at mount in the entire world? Well, then fucking do the class. Does that make sense? I don't know.
It does, because I like, for the way I see it is, my self-defense jiu-jitsu should carry over into my tournament jiu-jitsu in a sense. Like, the basic stuff works. The reason I like working on my guard a lot is because, to me, that is the last resort of, like, shit has gone really bad, and my guard is what's going to save my ass. Like, yeah, I'd like to think that if it came down to it, you're like, hey, this dude's going to try to kick your ass, and I just get on top and stay on top the whole time. Like, that's like the best thing to do, in my opinion. But if I'm, for whatever reason, shoved,
caught off guard,
on my back, and I can pull guard, I'm fine.
Dude, Hoist Gracie pulled guard. I mean, here's the thing, is that when you look at a guard, you look at something as basic as that, and this is, I was a CrossFit coach, so I was constantly breaking down movement. I do the same thing with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? I look at it and I'm like, okay, well, what's actually going on here? And even though all of and what fascinates me about it, and what makes me want to continue doing this for a very long time, regardless of my belt level, if I never advance past blue belt, I don't give a shit, right? I just want to learn and learn and learn. But things that fascinate me are, it's like this idea, like this guard, right? This guard. It seems so simple. You wrap your legs around another human being, and then you grab their wrists maybe, or you grab their head. But it's like when you watch, say, Hoist Gracie do it in a no-holds-barred fight, and he's doing this control, it's like there's a lot of technique to that. There's a lot of things that he's doing with that guard that make it seem so simple. And so people are like, oh, we're going to do closed guard today. Oh, fuck that shit. I want to do barambolos and sushi rolls and California rolls and all that shit. But it's like, you fucking, like, there's a technique to it. There's a way of keeping somebody down to prevent yourself from getting hit and to control them and to set up for sweeps, to set up for arm bars, to set up for all that shit. That's jiu-jitsu right there.
Yes.
Jiu-jitsu isn't the... Jiu-jitsu is, and it isn't the flashy stuff. Jiu-jitsu is the basic stuff. Jiu-jitsu is the not having somebody knock you off from mount, The jiu-jitsu is the fucking controlling someone from the back, like controlling them before you submit them. Jiu-jitsu is fucking, that's me, Mr. year-and-a-half blue belt, but that's what I strive for. I strive for those basic fucking things, man, because that shit fascinates me, and that shit works. That shit works in a tournament, and it works on the street. That kind of control that Hoist Gracie, that any of the Gracie family people, that, so many of these old school black belts and old school brown belts and people who are in the system in that way, they can do this, they can exert this kind of, that fascinates me. Because I look at that and I say, Hodger Gracie can do that on the street, and he can do that in a tournament, and he can submit other black belts with
Hell
it.
yeah.
I mean, that's fucking cool right there. That's a dual use. But I'm not gonna California roll into a heel hook on the street, man. I can't stop. I hate saying Imanari. Every time I say Imanari roll, every time I think of it, I think of sushi. I can't fucking.
You should make one, man.
Yeah.
Be a sushi chef. Say that 5 times.
Yeah.
Fast.
Just go there and ask for an Imanari roll.
Is an Imanari roll on special night?
Can you make me an Imanari roll? Because I heard those are really good.
They are.
Yeah.
They're really good. No, I mean, there's a place for it and everything.
Yeah.
If you compete a lot, you need to know.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So, can I berimbolo? Not very well, but I can still kind of do it.
I've seen you do it. Yeah.
But it's the fact of I'm in De La Hiva, so a hint for what's going on this week is going to be De La Hiva.
Oh, cool.
So it's kind of it was a request from a student. So we'll do De La Hiva. So I'm super open to requests. If we're can we do flying X card into the Wahoozy hold? I'll be I'll watch a fucking video on YouTube and see if I can figure it out.
Yeah.
But otherwise we're gonna do something different.
Yeah, for sure.
And I always caveat it with hey, I'm not the expert on any of this shit, but I'll give you what I know. And if there's something different that works for you, then fucking do it.
Yeah.
It's a very personal thing.
Yeah.
And going into what I did want to discuss tonight.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. No, you're fine. This has been a hell of a conversation. Like I said, pretty solid showing for the new guy.
Hey, man. Good. I mean, it's just there's a lot of shit to talk about, man. I mean, this is you're a good-looking guy with two beautiful dogs. There's a globe behind you. I mean, there's always more stuff to talk about,
Thank
man.
You fucking that.
You straight ankle locked me to death the other day. I fucking we can talk about that, man.
I did want to point out you said I'm a good-looking guy. I'd like for Rachel Hoffman to realize that.
Yeah.
Because James, who's a huge supporter of the show, helps us out a lot. Gives us soap, which we'll talk about afterwards.
Oh shit.
His wife we were talking and she goes, "Who's that?" And he goes, "Oh, that's Rob." And she goes, "That's him?"
Oh.
I was like,
that's fucked up,
he
man.
told me and he thought it was hilarious as shit. No, it's funny. It's funny as fuck. I was like, yeah, that's why I do podcasts, not vlogs, really. I do vlogs occasionally, but dude, my face is made for podcasting.
I don't know, man. I mean, I mean, maybe. I wasn't gonna say. I mean, I think you're a good-looking guy.
Thanks,
we'll let that go. I mean, take that how you will. I mean, if you want to,
yes.
That's a good thing. It's whatever. Maybe it's a bad thing that I think that. I mean, whatever,
We're very open on this show.
We're
accepting.
Unbelievably accepting on a whole other level.
Unbelievably accepting.
Yeah. So, wait. So what were you going to say?
Okay, yeah. So this has been bugging me for weeks.
Okay.
For weeks. And I've actually gotten a couple opportunities to talk to a couple of guests about it. But now that we kind of got this synergistic management solution thing, prestige worldwide thing going here.
Cool.
I'm getting sick of assholes in BJJ.
Like what?
So Joe Rogan said best that BJJ has the ultimate douchebag filter.
Yes.
He said that jiu-jitsu weeds out assholes, jiu-jitsu blah, 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 blah. I feel like it's beginning to fail. Or they're getting more exposure because of social media. And I know that a lot of people, we were talking about your friend who was white belt. That's perfectly awesome. Be proud of everything you do. But it seems to be kind of a self-congratulatory type, hey, we do this, blah, 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 blah. Look at me. I mean, an acai bowl next to the pool in, I don't know, fucking some random-ass island. And they don't show the hey, look at me, I fucking dislocated my middle finger trying to hold on to this. It glamorizes all the good shit, but it never talks about the bad shit.
Yeah.
And some of the people now too are being just assholes. And it's not problematic. I can't say that shit because I run into so many fucking cool people. But it seems more and more you can say yes, that guy's a fucking asshole. Whereas years ago I'll be I don't know, that guy seems pretty cool.
Yeah. So in particular, is there somebody that maybe on social media whose name starts with a D and ends with a Danis? Is that who you're talking about? I mean, I've seen
It's
him.
one of the prime examples of it, but
yeah, I mean, he's definitely a douchebag, but I think that's something where he's really he's trying to be, right?
Yeah.
That's his persona. He's trying to be sort of the Conor McGregor of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Man, as far as assholes go, though, I mean, it's so fucking weird that you mentioned that, because on the Eastern Shore, there's like, it's such a tight-knit community of people who do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So the gym that I went to, Gracie Ocean City, GOC, the owner of the gym is the type of guy, he's an asshole himself. If he's listening to this, he'd laugh at that, because Kevin, you're an asshole. You're a big asshole. You know it. Everybody knows you're an asshole. You're just a fucking asshole. I love you. You're a great guy. But you are you're a dick. And it's cool. But he's a good asshole. He's the type of asshole that will, if somebody does something fucked up on social media and it's in the Eastern Shore, he will he'll call them out on Facebook.
Good.
He'll tell them that they're a douchebag. And it's like, so you know how most people have that filter, or that, I have this thing where it's like, I before I say anything, especially on Facebook, I say, well, okay, do I really need to say this? Yeah. That filters out like 95% of shit.
Yeah.
The other part is like, okay, well, what about me? Like, what have I done lately to fuck up, And am I that good of a person, Can I really, can I say anything about this? And that weeds out most of the rest of it. There's this sort of like, this human filter that we have where we don't say things that are going to cause confrontation. Kevin Killian does not have that fucking filter. He will just immediately call somebody a douchebag. He'll say somebody's lying. He'll say somebody's an asshole. But he does that, and he's called out fake black belts on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. He's called out guys who are just insane. Guys who are just sort of like full of them, guys who claim certifications and claim to be able to do things that they can't do. He's called out pompous social media people whose social media persona is far different than their real life persona.
Yeah.
Because if you're like, he's the kind of guy who's like, and I keep talking about Kevin Killian, and I'm going to have to link him this podcast because you think it was awesome. And I'm not saying, I'm saying this, and I know that he's gonna agree with everything I'm saying. But his real life persona is exactly the same as his social media persona. He would have no problem saying that. He walked into a guy's gym who claimed to be a black belt. He bought it, basically. It was a whole big thing. He walked into the gym and challenged the guy right there. He dojo stormed this guy.
Hell yeah.
He's that guy. He's that guy. But he's called out people for having a social media persona that is far different from what they do in real life, right? So if you're a guy who is constantly posting, oh man, I'm in the gym grinding. I got in 28 rounds of sparring this morning, went with this kickboxing coach and did that, and the reality is that you got punched in the face and started crying. Well, okay, he's gonna tell people about that.
Exactly.
But no, there's I've met a few assholes in BJJ, largely in my short amount of experience with the sport, with the sort of community that also encompasses mixed martial arts in a lot of spheres, but also doesn't. There's a BJJ subset that doesn't fuck with mixed martial arts at all.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a BJJ, a bunch of BJJ people who will never interact with MMA people on any, they'll never do MMA, they'll never see things from an MMA perspective, and that's cool. It's just, but most of the people I met are really cool. There are some douchebags though. And it's interesting how they can still get through, even though it's like that, mats don't lie kind of thing, I don't know. What does it take?
It is weird, because I did a lot of thinking about, some people are assholes in the sense that they don't kind of go on to oh, yeah, it's cool, let him do his own thing, blah, blah, blah. No, you're acting like an asshole. I'm going to be an asshole about you acting like an asshole, Kevin Killian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the type of shit we need. But it seems to be a lot of like, getting a black belt doesn't automatically make you a good person. As we've seen time and time again with certain individuals who I won't name because I don't like lawsuits. Maybe on the East Coast, allegedly. Allegedly on the East Coast. Somebody allegedly saying that they allegedly... I have to use a lot of allegedlys in this thing.
You have to.
Having women allegedly cut his toenails and give
I know
him
what you're talking
massages.
about.
Yeah. It's all alleged, though.
It's not proven.
Yeah.
Let's make that clear. It's
Totally not, yeah.
It's not proven. Everybody thinks it, that's what it is, but it's not proven.
Yeah.
It's alleged.
Yeah, multiple witnesses, it's still alleged. But, whatever. It's
a lot of people leaving that gym
yeah.
because of shit like that, but it's alleged.
Yeah, totally not true. But it's like that. Or, I get that, I've been in the position where it's like in Taekwondo. I've met really cool people in it, but I've also met people who are like, just because you hold a master title doesn't mean I'm here to be your fucking butler or whatever. Like, I'm not going to stop what the fuck I'm doing to be like, oh, excuse me, master, and just bow. Like, it's I get it. You've done a lot of hard work and whatnot, but kind of don't expect me to kiss your ass about it.
Well, did you see there's on Facebook, I saw this poll or this post that was out, and it was something along the lines of, when you're on the mats and you're rolling and there are two higher belts rolling and they're rolling next to you, do you make room for those higher belts or do you just fucking keep rolling? And I kind of didn't understand what they were getting at first, but I figured out that what they were saying is, if those people are rolling, and do they have to reset and move out of the way, or do you have to reset and move out of the way if you bump into each other, right? And I was like, well, I've sort of done it, and I've sort of seen it done, whoever's being more aggressive, right? So if one pair is really being more aggressive, or they're in a spot where it's like they're close to submission or something, then generally the places I've been, that's what happens. We move out of the way. I move out of the way all the time for new white belts, all the time. And also if I'm rolling with a brand new white belt who has a lot of energy, big guy or whatever, and we're all over the place, then people will move out of the way from me, But I don't really that's what I like about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It upended the whole blind respect, not just respect. Respect, okay, you earned that. Okay, I respect that. Whatever your belt level is. Blind obedience, blind servitude, blind just groveling almost, oh yes, master. It's like, fuck all that. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's not supposed to be about that. And if it's about that, maybe you're doing it wrong.
No, I agree. There was an article. I think this kind of goes. It still goes in with it because one of my friends shared it, and it was the whole cross training is disrespect thing is bullshit, and I agree with that 100%.
Training at other gyms.
Yeah, so if it was, they brought up the point if it was neighborhood gym, whatever, you don't want people to steal your jiu-jitsu because you have some secret technique that nobody's seen.
Bullshit.
Which is bullshit.
There's no such thing.
None.
It's on YouTube. Whatever you're fucking doing is on YouTube right now.
And that's what was brought up, was that everything is available. There's fucking under my coffee table, I have 2 books. You can just pull it open. What do you want to learn? Here it is. There's no secrets. We don't have fucking clans or shogunates or whatever. I'm not walking around with swords on my hips defending whatever.
Unfortunately.
It would be pretty sweet.
It would be fucking terrible, actually. You fucking die in a sword fight. You fucking get shit cut off all the time. You just fucking, that's a gnarly way to live, man. A samurai?
I'd rather get shot, honestly. The thought of it, I'm dude, just fucking shoot me, please.
It would take a long time to die from a sword wound. If somebody stabs you in the gut and you're in 12th century Japan, you're going to fucking die, but it's going to take you a day. It's going to take you more than a day because you're going to you don't bleed that much. You're just going to get sepsis. You're going to get sepsis, you're going to get infection, you're going to die. It's going to take you forever. So that's why they started committing harikiri or whatever you call it, where one guy, he cuts your head off while you stab yourself in the stomach.
Yeah.
I don't know,
You're
man.
guaranteed to die at that point.
Yeah. All I know is fuck getting stabbed. Fuck getting slashed with a samurai sword.
Hell yeah. But, so if we go to the gym, Like this is different because it's, community thing or whatever. If I show up to a gym and said, "Here's $100, I would like to learn jiu-jitsu," not "Here's $100, I pledge my sword to your cause to defeat whatever evil emperor or whatnot that we like." No, it's I'm gonna give you $100 because I like the way you do guard. I'm gonna go open mat over here, pay $10, roll with people I've never seen before, and get better that way.
Absolutely.
Like, I feel like that's kind of adding on to the douchebag thing. Like, there's still some shit that people are holding on to that does not translate into, like, modern day society, modern day, like I'm not. Like it's not disrespect. Respect. I just want to learn, man. Like, let me do some fucking jiu-jitsu, dude. Yeah, let me do it.
And I think that's something that people, that's bad leadership. Yeah. I mean, that's just bad leadership. I mean, that's something that if I was at a school that was like that, right? Maybe it's okay. It's like you have your loyalty to the school, but the loyalty to the school should be because of how the quality of the school and the friends that you make there. And then they should encourage you to go seek other sources of training because they should know their weaknesses. I mean, that's the mark of a good school. It's like, yeah, we're very much takedown and wrestling heavy, and we're good at top position. But hey, man, our guard stuff needs work. And in fact, if you're a good school, you might organize trips to go train with other students at other gyms. Yes. You might say, hey, we're gonna all go to Southside Jiu-Jitsu in Salisbury, Maryland, which happened. I mean, you do that. We're gonna all go to this other gym out in wherever, and we're gonna take their class because we know that they're different. We know that there's a lot of lanky small dudes there that flip around real fast, and we're gonna try and get some of that in our game, or we know that these people have a great striking coach, and we know that these people have a great this guy's gonna be here, and so we're gonna join their seminar. It's not about if you're just a blindly allegiant to one and that doesn't make sense too. Like, what if you fucking travel? Like, you're not going to train at other people's gyms when you travel?
Bullshit.
Yeah, that's insane.
Do. Always do.
Like, if you're Anthony Bourdain, if you're 60 fucking 3 years old, blue or purple belt, whatever he's at right now, he's a Henzo blue belt or Henzo purple belt. He trains every day, all over the world. You're going to tell that guy, like, no, you have to have blind allegiance to me? I don't think Henzo Gracie would ever do that. But it's like, it's insane. And like I said before, it's one of the reasons why Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is what it is. It's better. It's better than the other martial arts because there isn't this. And you know what? That reminds me. It's like, it's kind of like these fucking. It feels like a predator. It feels like predatory. Like you're gonna trap somebody into being subservient to you, and you're gonna brainwash them into thinking that your system is the best. That's insane, man. That's insane. It's like what fucking child molesters do. And I hate to compare some fucking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu people out there to child molesters, but fuck, man.
It's a power thing.
It's all about power. Like, you only need me.
So not allegedly, this actually did happen, but like one of the Taekwondo guys I worked with did the same shit, and he was actually banging underage girls from the club.
God damn.
Yeah, well, he's a piece of shit. Fuck that guy. But
yeah.
It's, he went to jail or not jail. He got probation, which is bullshit. The guy should have gone to jail, but like it's the same thing. Like if you do the same where you're like, yes, you have to be loyal to me, blah, 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 blah. Now take your pants off. Like there's something like really fucking wrong with that.
I mean, like unless you like that's a consensual thing where it's like, okay, we're going to all take our pants off. Like whatever. Okay, look, man. And I'm all about lifestyle choices. Whatever you want to do, man. Today's your day, right? But it was interesting because that same gym that I was talking about earlier with the fake black belt also had. I mean, it's like these things build. There's never just one thing, The gym that had that fake black belt also had a guy who was a registered sex offender that nobody knew about that was teaching kids. He was teaching kids every day. Dude. No, I mean, this is what I'm telling you. This is something. I mean, shout out to Kevin Killian again. I mean, this fucking dude he's a bad motherfucker. And if you're in the DC or Baltimore area and you want to train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you want to train MMA, go out to Gracie Ocean City. if you're going to Ocean City, and drop in. I mean, the fucking guy is, dude. What we used to do is it's right on this main street where all of these people walk. And during the summer, there's fucking hundreds, thousands of people walking by. We have these big windows, and we have an octagon, and we have mats. I mean, it's not the biggest octagon, but it's a fucking octagon. When people see an octagon, they think, oh man, things are going down. So on Friday nights, we would spar in the octagon, and on other nights too in the summer.
Right.
And he had this thing called sign the waiver, and so if you wanted to, you were just walking by, you're just some random dude walking by, and there's all these people out there who have this thing in their head, like, oh, I can fight somebody, I can beat somebody up, I can beat an MMA fighter. They would walk into the gym, and Kevin charges them he still does this. He charges them $10, and they can spar, and they would just get fucked up.
Awesome. Awesome.
It's the greatest thing in the entire world. That's the kind of guy he is. But no, so he went into this gym where there was this guy who was a registered fucking sex offender, and he stood there and he called all those people out, man. I mean, it was a confrontation. And you know, that guy, I don't know what happened to the sex, but that guy was teaching kids. I mean, that's the crazy fucking thing. You know, there's all these restrictions. You can't live near a school.
Yeah.
You can't but you can teach kids at a martial arts gym. It's fucking crazy. And nobody knew about it. He had to do all this research. That's fucked up. But it's one of those power things, right? You have a guy who's also a fake black belt. And you have these power structures where, you know, people exert their power, and it's never just this one. I'm starting to sound like Eddie Bravo right now. I'm saying, you got the power, man, and you're just like...
No, your shit's coherent, man. I understand where you're going with it. So
I mean, the Earth, you know, have you looked into the ice wall? Have you looked into the fucking...
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, it's fucking crazy, man. Dude, I'm telling you, you know, Infowars.com. But
fuck. That's another podcast right there.
Fuck, dude. We could just make a podcast about Eddie Bravo, but
we could.
If you listen to it, I would be afraid that he'd come and twist me to death.
Yeah, beat the shit out of him. All right, guys, line up.
I love Eddie Bravo. Oh man, he was one of my first. Like when I was more flexible, I would do rubber guard a lot.
Nice.
The flexibility's gone away a little bit, but it's cool. Yeah, man.
I feel like we've hit a lot of topics tonight.
Yeah, it's been a diverse sort of experience. It's been a very nice experience.
That's good.
You got a nice place, man. You got a nice setup too.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate that.
Comfortable couch. Great dogs. His dog's sleeping right now.
Yeah, this one likes sleeping. I'm just kind of glad he isn't barking, growling, whatever. But
pissing blood.
Pissing blood. Yeah, no more pissing blood. So, what do you think? Another episode at some point?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Hell yeah.
That was fun. If you'll have me.
Oh, fuck yeah. Of course I will, man. This is nice. It's real good. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show. Member of the Pod Bros Podcast Network. Don't forget to go to podbros.com and find yourself another episode you want to listen to. And check out our sponsors, Trapper Roll Soap Company and Tape Armor. I'm Rob. Catch you guys next time.